I'm still gonna work on getting Andres on here.
Okay.
He hasn't used StreamYard yet, so.
Okay.
I don't know if Pace is actually getting on, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't seem like he was, but yeah.
Yeah, he's actually working on. So we got a yo.
Hey.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Rick just went to do something with Brent and Jamil. So should I just mute this and then?
Yeah, probably that'd be good. I'll
mute it and stop the camera and then get out of your way.
I'll just close it out.
All right.
All good. Okay.
Hi, Cody.
Andres, what's up?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good. So let me see here.
Hi, Andres.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great, thank you.
So I just grabbed Andres on the spot. So Andres, we're actually on Facebook Live and a Facebook group, and we have 100 people on watching us.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay, that's good.
So what we're gonna do is, because we always get asked questions about doing like the responses to texts and everything, through batch, and so everyone is asking, and I'm always talking so highly of you. I'm like, honestly, Andres is the man, and so that's where I'm like, you know what? If we could just have you get on too, that would be super cool to go through some of this. Remember the Atlanta list? We tried texting it from the Phoenix phone numbers, and the deliverability was horrible.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so we're gonna do. I fixed it. I just set up some Atlanta phone numbers. I just didn't have time the previous one, so I just set up some Atlanta phone numbers, and then we'll just do some. We'll work on just that campaign on this call, and we should be able to get some good leads going out of there. So let me see here. Andres, on batch, does it show you have access to the Atlanta campaign?
Let me check.
Okay. Awesome. And then what I'll probably do is we'll probably share the screen once we kind of get things going.
Okay.
Still loading.
Okay.
Yeah, Atlanta D4D.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Awesome. So what we'll do, Fontella and Andres, is we'll go through that Atlanta D4D, the Driving for Dollars campaign on this call. We'll probably share the screen here, Andres, here in a few minutes as you go through some of the messages on there, and kind of do some question and answers and stuff like that. So sorry, I put you on the spot, Andres.
No problem.
So Fontella,
Yeah.
Andres has been texting with us for a long time now. It's beginning of last year. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So time's flown by. He originally was working with us on Roar, on those campaigns, and then we switched over to Batch recently and have been using those. So what we'll do is, as people ask questions, I'll direct some of those questions to you, Andres, and then Fontella. Questions that you have too, just feel free to ask me or Andres, and
Okay.
we'll go through that campaign. So we'll go ahead and answer some questions. We have 143 people watching live, Andres.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah,
I'm ready to make a spelling mistake and have everyone see it.
That's okay. So no worries. So For everyone that's on here live watching, feel free to, ask questions. Obviously, I'll direct, questions to Andres that, if you have a question directly for him, or if you have any questions for me, I'll make sure to, get those questions answered. And then Fontella, same thing for you. If you have questions for me or questions for Andres, we'll go through those. So I'm going to share the screen real quick. Andre, so if you just want to start on that campaign, and then I'm just going to talk about batch, like how the campaigns are set up a little bit, and then we'll jump over to some of the responses that you're getting on there. Okay.
Okay, sounds
Awesome. Okay, so let's do this. Woo. Okay. Fontella, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So just a quick refresher for, excuse me, for everybody that's watching. So we had a little bit of a glitch when we were doing this at the end of last week, I think it was. We were having an issue where we didn't set up phone numbers, because I messed that up. We didn't set up phone numbers for Atlanta. So what I did today is, based on the market that you're in, because we're primarily just in Phoenix, and Fontella's in Atlanta. So we have Phoenix phone numbers that are set up, and then we just set up some Atlanta phone numbers today. So let me see here, make sure these are in there. So if you're setting up campaigns, obviously you want to make sure, based on the market you're in, you have caller IDs that are, accustomed to that market. So that's what we went here and did. We added, 20 phone numbers for Atlanta. And then we went ahead and got that campaign set up. So Andres will start going through and sending out some messages and creating some leads here, and then we'll go in there and answer some questions. But what I'm going to do before, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Before we do that, I'm going to give Andres a few minutes, because he'll send out the messages and then he'll get some messages back. So we'll see what those messages come back at. So I'm going to answer some questions while we wait. Okay. Mohan is asking, all text campaigns are done with virtual assistants. Yeah, so Andres is actually, for those of you that hopped on here, now we have 170 people watching. Andres actually has been with us since the beginning of last year. He was working on Roar campaigns with us, and then now obviously we use Batch. And then he's actually in a role where he's, kind of checking in, where we have 2 other guys that are doing texting as well. And so Andres is, helping, add some new campaigns, like pre-foreclosures, on a day-to-day basis, and texting those, and then checking in on the other 2 text campaigns that are running, and making sure that their campaigns are going well, or giving them feedback on leads that they're submitting. Because Andres has done a great job at, submitting good leads, and, knowing what to look for, what not to waste his time with when he's having these text conversations. Okay, next question. So Jeff, you're asking, what is the forwarding number on batch leads? Can I use my personal number, or what alternative can I use for it? So I'm going to share my screen again to show you guys what that is specifically. So on the forwarding number, basically what that number is for is, if you're texting and somebody calls the phone number that you have, it's going to forward to that number. So like, we have a forwarding number here, and obviously for Atlanta and Phoenix, it's the same one, because whatever they're calling, when they're making a call back, they're going to be calling one of the numbers they got texted from. So for example, all of these are the numbers that the texts are going out from. And when they call back, it automatically will forward it to this number that we had here. Does that make sense to you, Fontella?
Yes.
So it's going to forward over to this number, which for us, we use a call rail number. I wouldn't suggest doing. I wouldn't suggest using your personal phone number, because imagine this, right? If you're sending out text messages, you send out 500 messages or 1,000 messages or 1,500 messages in a day. And imagine if 10% of those people called you back, 150 people called your personal cell phone. That would probably get annoying really quickly. And a lot of times when the people are calling back, it's not to say, hey, I want to sell my house. It's to say, hey, F you, don't call me. Don't freaking text me. Don't reach out to me. Take me off your list. Like, that's what most of those calls are going to be. So, you know, we want those to forward to something else, like a call rail number. So that's what we have set up there. Another question is, how did we set up phone numbers for different markets? Let me jump back over to there. Let me share the screen again. Okay. So when you're setting up phone numbers for different markets, the first thing you have to do is, you know, if you want to add a new market, you're going to go here and add and then select that market. And then, you know, once you have added that market and then Batch approves that market is a market where they have phone numbers, then you're going to go to Phone Manager and then just select that market, and then it'll find phone numbers in that for that particular market for you when you buy them. So that's pretty easy, and then it just attaches it to the campaign for you. So that's pretty simple. Andres, how are the responses? Are you getting a decent amount of responses starting to come back?
I'm still sending. I'm trying to send as many as possible so we
Okay.
can have a good bunch of responses and I can start working on them.
Okay, sounds
I'm
good.
about halfway through.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll jump on over there here in just a minute then. Just let us know when you're ready.
And how many messages
Okay.
can you send per day? Coding per day?
50 text messages per phone number. So if you have 20 phone numbers, you could send 1,000 text
Cool.
messages.
Okay.
So you could send as many as you want. It just depends on the amount that you want to send. So you just have to get more phone numbers. That's the biggest thing is, you know, you'll run out of phone numbers, you know, if you send out 50 per phone number, but you could always buy more. So it's not a big deal.
Okay.
While we wait for that, Fontella, what questions do you have about texting or the follow-up process from texting or anything in regards to that?
Well, actually, none right now, because you know we went over that a lot of this in the private call about a week ago. But as far as you saying the call rail numbers, those numbers being used to forward, I assume that you have those call rail numbers set up to go directly to voicemail, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll go directly to voicemail, and then someone on our team will listen to the voicemails. Most of them are just like, F you, stop texting me, don't call me. You know,
Right.
screw off. But, you know, we'll listen through just to see if there's anyone that, you know, occasionally we get, you know, an elderly seller that'll call back. I got a text from you and I do want to sell.
Okay, got you. Okay, and let's say you get positive responses in where they are interested in selling. Does Batch have a feature where that is a lead, whether it's warm or hot, or I don't want to sell now, maybe 3-6 months down the line? Do they have a feature where you can push that over to a CRM, or you have to do that manually?
Yeah, so if they call back and they leave the message in call rail, we have to do it manually. So the individual on our team that'll go through those and, you know, they'll respond. They'll just add the information into Podio. So it is manual on the callbacks.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there a way to keep your responses logged? Let's say if you need to contact somebody next week or next month, is there a way to keep the responses in a way that, not that it happens automatically, but, you know, kind of that you get a reminder, or maybe you can segment those leads out that you need to follow up with as opposed to those that are just there?
So, well, if it's a lead that is somebody that, you know, is worth following up with, we add them to our CRM. So we're going to make sure they get put into Podio, and then they'll get a
Okay, I got you.
specific follow-up task attached to those.
Okay, I got you. So
Yeah.
you're gonna allow the CRM to keep you organized on that.
Yes,
Gotcha.
definitely. Okay, let's see here. So we have a lot of questions coming up here. So Jonathan, when calling and texting the same list, if you get a caller to answer via cold call and they're not interested, how do you make sure not to text that caller who already said, no, leave me alone? Different platforms, like on Batch, you can manage your DNC contacts on there. So I believe you can export your DNC numbers. We haven't done it yet because it's still like we're only a few months into using Batch, so we haven't transported them into another system. It was more so we had used Roar for the last little over a year, so we downloaded in an Excel file of all the DNC people from that platform, and we uploaded that into Batch so that those got added over. So depending on the call system that you're using, there might be a DNC setting, or you might be able to reach out to the support at whatever system you're using, and they could give you direction on pulling the do not contacts that you have from that and then uploading it into what other system that you're using. But it isn't something that we overthink either. A lot of times it's a different demographic that are going to be answering phone calls, that are answering text messages. Like typically for cold calls, it's going to be a more elderly demographic that are typically answering phone calls. Not just elderly, it's usually, just middle-aged to elderly are going to be the ones that are answering phone calls, and then versus text messages. Like the average 70-year-old isn't the one texting you back. It's usually they're answering their landline at their house if, they're getting cold call. So that's something to keep in mind. Joseph, you said you've had Batch for a week and still haven't figured it out. It's frustrating. Make a message on here, I guess, on what you're stuck on. Maybe I can, help cover that. Like any system, it takes a little bit of time to learn in the little different quirks to it. So happy to help. Salvador, do you have the call forward to call rail than your personal phone? Yes, but it is set to go to voicemail automatically. So it'll go over to call rail and then it'll go to voicemail. Leticia asks, do you change your text message based on the list you're texting to? You use a template for pre-foreclosures versus absentees. We haven't changed the template. Like Andres knows on, some of the lists that I'm putting him on, like he's bringing in like the pre-foreclosures, like he knows what that, data type is. So, he's more aware of, what's kind of going on with those versus like the big lists where we're kind of like, casting a wide net, are going to be a little bit different than the ones where it's like we're, sniper or like using a fishing pole to catch one out of like the smaller niche lists. Let's see. Someone asked if it texts landlines. No, it just texts the mobiles, and Batch will recognize that. It's not going to send or charge you to try to send to a landline. Joseph asks, I have 20 numbers in skip trace list and I still can get it to work together. I would reach out to Batch support. If you haven't done a call with Robert Montenegro or Michelle, they're great and help us anytime that we're having issues. So I'm not sure what the issue you're having is, but I would reach out to them. Application. Okay, Felicia's asking what application we use to forward the calls. Callrail.com. That's what we use for that. Okay. Andres, are we ready to look at some messages, even if they're not nice messages?
Yeah, I already have a bunch of responses. Actually, you can see three kind of interest leads. You can see on their warm leads. Those are the ones that I'm going to start working on.
Okay, cool. We'll check it out here. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and then Fontella might ask you some questions too. I know the answers to the questions, but I'm asking for the people that are watching. 'Cause a lot of people are newer to doing texting and aren't just aren't familiar with, what they should, focus their time on as far as conversations, versus, people that are probably more of a waste of time. So let me jump into this. Okay, so you said under the warm lead section?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Oh, and we have Tino. So for those of you guys watching, Tino is our main acquisition guy in our office. So he's the one that's calling on these leads. So that's where when Andres is messaging, he's Tino when he's messaging, because that's who they're going to end up talking to. Okay, let's do this. Actually, let's do this. Andres, I'm going to let you share. Let me see if it lets you share. Can you try to share your screen?
Yes, let me see how I can do that.
Here. I think it should be at the bottom. Should be like options of like muting, camera, mic, and then sharing screen. While we wait for that, Mohan, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, was asking, do you prefer cold calling versus RVM? Yes, cold calling over RVM. We don't do RVMs at all. We just do texting and then cold calling. Those are the two sources that we use. Fade is asking, can you export leads off of batch? You can. All you have to do is under your filters section, set up, like, choose whatever leads, and then you can, select the action button and then export. It's pretty easy to do that. So you definitely can.
Is there a litigator scrub?
Yeah, that's built into batch already. So it's already going to prevent you from texting litigators.
Okay.
Oh, let's see here. This is my first time using StreamYard, but let's see if this shares. Does it say it's sharing your screen? Because it shows that it's letting me try to select it. Let's see. Andres, on your end, is it showing it? Oh,
No, it's just that when I tried to share the screen, my browser froze and it kicked me out. So I just came back.
Okay. Maybe we'll try one more time, and then if it doesn't, then I could just go over to it, and then you could just see what I'm sharing and just bounce back and forth and let everyone know kind of what you're seeing. We'll give it one more try, and then I'll share otherwise, but I'll answer some of these other questions that are coming in.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. Please give me 1 second.
So for those of you guys on here that are asking questions about you're having trouble importing leads from PropStream into Batch, or different questions related to that, I would schedule a call with Michelle or Robert. Oh, here we go. Boom, there it is. Fontella, can you see it too?
Yep. Yeah, I can see it.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, so we'll take a look at some of these messages that are coming back here. So if you want to go to maybe some of the warm ones, and then just maybe talk about like what you're seeing and why you'd consider it warm, and kind of what you see as like the next step for that lead, and then we can go to like maybe some of the ones that you think are not worthwhile, and maybe we can talk about why those ones aren't ones that we would consider following up with, and what we're seeing there. and I'll just kind of keep answering questions while it loads, and then we'll just be like, Cody, be quiet. I'm gonna talk now. And you're
Okay.
uh, what is your best lead? So we had a quick question on what's your best lead source. Um, I mean, as far as marketing channel, text, and then cold calling. As far as lead source, absentee owners, people that aren't living in the properties, they're either a rental property, they inherited the property, and just people that aren't living in the property. So that's the biggest thing. Those are the biggest ones that we see the best results with are absentees. If we go down to like the super niche list, it's going to be probate. So people that have passed away and their family is inheriting the property. So that's the situation we look at. And then outside of that, I mean, we've done really well with absentees. Our two favorite types of properties to buy are condos and mobile homes. Those are our favorite. We like flipping those. They're pretty easy for us to understand and do. So those are our favorites. Depending on what state you're in, mobile homes aren't as popular, but Arizona, we have lots of mobile homes. So those are ones that we see a lot of. See, I want 3.8 million in cash.
Yeah, so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. That, people just aren't serious. Let's see what
Yeah,
else.
so this happens a lot. When you get when they get the initial message, the initial text, um, the most of the people will immediately say no, don't bother me, or just right away just curse at you. But the smaller number, the most common response is yes. Yes, we're open to sell, or yes, it's my property, or just yes. So that's the initial, the initial gate that opens for you to start a conversation, because usually they don't say that much. So the initial message that I sent was just saying, "Hi, my name is Tino. I'd like to make an offer on your property." So immediately he just flat out told me that he's not interested. But they like to answer these messages either because they're bored, or they just are curious to see what's the reason we're texting them. When it comes to this, to what's the reason you're texting me, you're going to have people like this one, that he just doesn't want anything to do with us. He doesn't want to sell, or the other group of people that are actually have been thinking of selling and are interested in saying how much you're going to pay, or what's your offer, or who the hell are you. So obviously this goes away.
Mhm. And so, would you say that's
So for
someone
example,
worth
it's
trying
a
to
good
text again
example.
on Grace, or would you say you just trash those ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't like to put them in the not interested, because it just fills up the batch lead. And at first, when I was doing that, I started to notice that batch leads was starting to get kind of slow.
Uh-huh.
So I just deleted all of that, and it just started to run much more smoothly. So I just delete the ones that are not interested. There's no, I mean, there's no reason to keep them there.
Nice. Okay. So let's see another one here.
So, for example, in this case with Sebastian, I was a very similar opening text. Hello, Sebastian. I'm an investor. This is your address. Will you be open to selling? So right away, this is an interested lead. If we get a very reasonable price, sometimes we get people saying that he will only sell for market price or above market price. So just this word, reasonable, it's like an invitation to go ahead and have a chat, make an offer, and make something happen. So this is a real key word for me when I'm just browsing through the long list, because this tells me that there's an interest and there's at least like the chance to start a conversation. So
Awesome.
this was my follow-up lead. I'm sorry, my follow-up text, just saying that, okay, no problem. I understand you need a fair price. My name is Tino. I'd like to make an offer you price. Do you have a ballpark price in mind? This way I can say if he's asking a ball price, if he's asking just the like the full retail price, or what's on his mind. And this is something good. What you have in your mind. So he's kind of throwing back the ball at me, trying to see what I'll offer. So in this case, obviously, we don't make the offers ourselves. We just need to at least get him to receive a call from us so we can talk to him. So in this case, what I want to know if he's actually ready to sell, interested in selling, or just looking for an offer.
And so, like the psychology behind that for you too, to understand Fontella and everyone watching is, it's like, are they actually considering selling, or are they just fishing for an offer? Because,
Right.
so, somebody that just wants an offer, it's like, yeah, I'll take an offer on my car if it's way over what it's worth, right? Because I don't want to sell my car, but I'll sell it if it's for more than it's actually worth. But, so that's kind of what we've seen over time is, people that are just fishing for an offer aren't serious, but people that, are actually, hey, I am considering selling. Those are people that we want to talk to.
Yes, exactly. So one of the most popular responses are, "Hey, everything has a price." So that's just exactly what Cody was saying. Hey, I'm not interested in selling, but if you give me twice its value, then I'll sell.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sure. I'd sell my house too for that.
Yeah, exactly. So right here, I think I ask also what a ballpark price will be for the home. Yeah, so his answer was uh 350K. So I really like this about batch leads. Most of the time, you can request the silo info, and it will show you like the estimate for silo. So this really saves time. So for
221.
example, yeah, as you can see, it's 221. So I'm not even going to respond back to this text. Makes no sense.
Right.
Uh, this happens a lot. Hey, how much do you offer? They just want to know. Uh, Most of the time, what I think is they just have a lot of spare time in their hands because they know they don't want to sell, but they will still text you back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So this is a waste of time. I mean, I could go ahead and ask him if he's interested in selling or just a price, and he might play with me and just
Mhm.
start texting back and saying things, and I will just be wasting time. So when you get this kind of overpriced, I mean, it's over $100,000, you just
Mhm.
know that you don't have to waste your time with this person.
Gotcha.
And how would you filter, Andres, like the ones you'd consider putting in like the warm versus like hot folder on here?
Okay, usually I don't use the hot folder
Hmm.
because while they're in warm, they will just give me everything, and that's a full lead for me.
Hmm.
Uh, the few times that I have done it, it's when they say, "Yes, I'm very interested in selling. You can give me a call, or you can text me back tomorrow, or right now I'm in a meeting." Blah blah blah. But it's just if they give me like a keyword, like they're really interested or they really want to have a text back, and I cannot get to them yet because otherwise I really don't like to. I think it's a waste of time to be moving the same lead from unread to warm to hot and then to make offer. I'll just be moving that lead around. So I'll just try to do everything from the warm lead list.
That makes sense. Keep it
Yeah, it
more
just saves
organized
time.
and efficient.
Yeah, and I can actually see when I have a new lead because I'm always checking. I'm bouncing back and forward from unread to warm lead, so I'm able to see the new text and the new responses. So I'm able to respond as fast as possible because sometimes people are really, I don't know how to call it, delicate with that. So if they don't feel like they have 100% of your attention, they will just turn away and just block you. So they need to feel like like they're the center of the universe, that you're only texting them, that they're the most important thing. And a key
Uh-huh.
factor in that is just responding in time, not texting them 2 hours later because they're going to
Mhm.
say, okay, he's not really interested.
Mhm.
Yeah, or like, why'd you text me and then not respond all day?
Yeah, exactly.
So then how many are you sending at a time, Andres, to make sure that you can respond in a quick time?
Usually with batch leads, what I do is that for about 15 to 20 minutes, I will be sending the initial messages, and then
Okay.
I will take around half an hour to 40 minutes to start answering all of them. So as I was telling you, I will just bounce back from this one, from unread to warm
Yeah.
lead, so I'm able to see all that's going on. The ones that are just starting to take an interest, saying
Mhm.
yes, yes, that's my property, or yes, I would like to hear an offer. To people saying, okay, you can call me at this or that time, because that way I'm able to respond as quickly as possible. Because as I told you, I've lost leads before because I just started working on something else and I
Mhm.
didn't text him back right away, and they will
Mhm.
just say, okay, no, you're not interested. I mean, you text me 2 hours after I text you, so
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
not worth my time. So you need to make sure to, just to pay attention to the leads. Not even if it is a warm or hot lead, just every one of them. You
Mhm.
need to take the time to work on each.
Definitely. And I think one thing that we've noticed, Andres, on batch is instead of like focusing on, because on roar, like we would try to send out a certain amount of messages a day, and with batch it's more like, hey, like send out the amount of messages to be able to get as many leads as possible, right? With that goal of like at least 4 to 5 a day. Obviously, the more we get the better, but I think it matters more that the actual leads that go in versus the amount of text sent. I know a lot of people are asking like, how many texts do you send? Well, as many as you need to for the to be able to get 4 or 5 plus leads a day. um, but I think on average, I looked over like the last week, between you, Gerald, and Donnie. I think we're somewhere between 1,700 and 2,000 a day on average is what
Mhm.
it kind of looked like. Um, to be able to reach that amount of leads a day.
Yeah, you also have to think about the quality of the leads that you're sending in,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's one thing for me not to take 5 seconds to look at this and say, okay, he's not interested in selling his property. That's it. But if I go ahead and actually think that this is a lead and I invest my time and actually send it to somebody else, that is going to waste time on him as well, because I'm the front line, I'm on the field of battle. So it's my job not to make sure that all the good leads are going in and none of the bad are going in, because you have people on the other front that are leading with people who are actually interested. So their time is very valuable, and that's my job, just to filter all the good stuff and leaving all the bad stuff behind, because time is essential. I mean, you just said it, on average in a day is 2,000 text, so you have to make that money count, because if you are just uh, passing by a bad lead, that's time and that's money wasted for everyone. But if I just take 1 second to look at this and say, okay, this is not a good lead, I'm not going to waste anyone else's time with this, then you're saving actually time and money.
Awesome. Awesome. You got some nice responses in there. See that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the good thing about batch leads. You can just read the messages here. You not actually have to open one by one. So what I do is I just select them, knowing that, for example, this, yes, send me the money. Uh, Please put me on your do not call list. So you don't really have to check one by one and also waste time on that. You can
Mhm.
just select at least the 4 or 5 that you can see on the front page,
Mhm.
and they're gone. So this really leaves you the time to work on the ones that are actually interested, that actually want to know something. And as I told you, this is one of the most common responses, just the word yes. Okay, interested in an offer for the property? Yes. I mean, she's not saying yes, I want to sell. She's not saying yes, I'm going to make a deal with you. But at least there's some that's an invitation for me to text her back.
Definitely. And for those of you guys that are asking, this is batch leads batchleadstacker.com. That's the system that we're using. If you aren't using it already, there's a code that you guys can use. I just posted it to get 500 free texts using this system. I just posted it there. Let's see. Yeah. So you guys can use it. And then some of the other staff members that we have that are, doing additional texts, like I was mentioning, a couple other guys that work with us, Gerald and Donnie. We use vahubonline.com. By the grace of God, I found using Craigslist, me and Andres were able to find each other on there.
Yeah, that was good.
But for if you want help finding someone to help you with campaigns, we've used vahubonline.com to help out with that.
So by deleting those messages, are they deleted from the batch platform as well? So there's no way for you to contact them again?
I believe so, depending on where he's marking them. If he's like marking them do not call / delete, that should be removing them.
Okay.
And then it'll
Yeah,
recognize.
usually you will do that here,
Mhm.
and that's especially when they say that they're in the do not call list, because of legal issues with that. You have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure to that you will not text that number back.
Okay.
Yeah. What the heck?
I think because I'm sharing my screen, the batch lead is like
It's
really
live.
slow right now.
Yeah,
It's
probably.
dragging its feet.
We have a deal that should be closing tomorrow or Friday, Andres, that you got from a couple weeks ago. Remember that one where I was like, which campaign was this on? And that was the one that we got under contract.
Yeah, you told me about that one. That sounds great. It's a great news.
Sure. Okay. Jonathan, the two texts, that's to 2,000 phone numbers. So you sometimes might have two different mobile lines with an address. So that's texting the phone numbers. Malcolm, as far as, let's see, platform to generate leads. We're as far as where we're actually getting data from, we're getting it from PropStream. And then outside of PropStream, we'll use listsource.com to pull, bigger lists of data. And Batch is actually in a couple of weeks, they're coming out with their own list. So you'll be able to pull lists directly from Batch. So it'll be nice because it'll be all in one where you can pull your list, skip trace your list, and then start your text campaigns all from Batch. Daryl, yes. When you delete them, it adds them to the DNC. So you're not going to be texting them again. Jonathan, as far as setting up the platform, Batch will help you. Batch will do an onboarding call with you. So they'll once you sign up for Batch, they're gonna do an onboarding call where they're gonna help you set up your campaigns. They have lots of videos, and then they also was it Michelle that did the onboarding video call with you, Andres, for Batch?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so guys, like Batch will help you a lot. So they did the initial call with Andres, kind of getting him familiarized with the text platform, and then obviously you can take those videos and save those to help train other people as well. Um, and then Jonathan. So Jonathan's asking Andres, so if you get a crazy response, you just automatically are removing those, or if their number is crazy, you delete them without seeing if they're willing to negotiate.
What's the question again?
Basically, like if they send you like a crazy message or a crazy number, what are you doing with them? Just basically you're removing them, deleting them out of, not wasting your time with them.
Yes, exactly. Because, I mean, when it comes to a text message, it's something really quick, really fast. So when you get those kind of text, for this kind of people, is faster to say that than to say, okay, I'm not interested, or the house it's belong to my parents, or trying to explain the reason they don't want to sell. It's much faster for them to just to say, yes, I want $1 million.
Yeah.
So they'll know that you won't follow up, and they'll know that you won't text them back. So they already accomplished their goal. So these are people who just don't want to waste their time trying to explain to a cold texter the reason they don't want to sell. They will just say that, and they'll be done with it because they know we won't waste our time.
Definitely. I think, and a lot of the people are new, Andres, and so they haven't done lots of texts and seen lots of these responses before. So, I think it's just good learning for them to kind of understand. Timothy, the link for Batch, I just posted that. Here, let me see. Yeah, I just posted that on there, so you can visit that link for Batch. Gabriel, as far as he's going to hate me for this, but I'll put Robert Montenegro. He's a support rep with Batch. I'll put his phone number. He can help set you up. Actually, let me not do that because he's going to hate me. I'm going to get Michelle's email, and then you guys can actually, that's the right move. Guys, so what I'm doing, I'm going to post Michelle at Batch. I'm posting her email address. If you need an onboarding call or something along those lines, you could reach out to Michelle. Let's post that here. And then we'll probably stay on for another 10 minutes or so before I have to run to walk through a house here in a little bit. But we're going to try and stay on, see if we get something that is lead worthy to get for Fontella here.
Yeah, actually, I think I have a good example here with this lead. When I said that I wanted to make an offer, she said, go ahead. So I asked her for if she's been considering selling or just looking for an offer. So she says she will make a decision when she hears an offer. So these are people who are just interested in getting an offer, and they're trying to get an offer from you out of the text.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see that maybe they're good, maybe there's an interest, maybe we can do something with it, I'll just offer the call. So when is usually the best time for a quick call so I can make you an offer? And right away she said, text your offer to me. It will be the same as calling. So these are people that are really not that interested. They are not even willing to take a phone call. But if she still wants to hear an offer, this is one that I've been using. So if you're really interested in selling, I can send you a text. I just don't want to waste your time. So I'm just opening the gate so she can tell me, now you know what? Don't even bother, or yes, go ahead. So not a problem. So with this, you will say she's being hostile because she doesn't want to get a call, but at the same time, she's not refusing the text. Texting me right away. So I will consider this a lead. I will consider sending that in because maybe there's something there that we can work with. But sometimes when they say this, just text the offer and don't call me, and you will send a reply back, you will never hear from them again because they were just trying to get an offer via text. Now they just want to be left alone. So this happens a lot when they say, "Hey, don't call me, just send me a text." So I think this is a good follow up because when I'm saying I don't want to waste their time, I really mean I don't want you to waste my time. So I'm just straight up asking her if she's really interested. She said, "Okay, not a problem." So I think there's something there.
Awesome. So that would be one to push through. And then, so Fontella, so that's one that you can, Andres, if you want to just put it into Voxer, we don't need to push it to Podio because we aren't, we'll just have Fontella work on that one. But that's one that Fontella, if you just want to put it into Voxer, Andres, and then what I'll do is, I'll just send all the info for it over to Fontella and she can work on that one. But hopefully guys, recognizing with text, there is a method to, getting results with it, but, recognizing that, it's just about consistency and, just kind of being able to get to the point where you identify the people that are just a waste of time and the people that are just, trying to jerk you around or just mess with you because they're bored, and the people that actually, are worthwhile to get on the phone with. So finishing up here, we'll answer probably like 2 more questions and then we will hop off here. Hopefully, Fontella, that was helpful to kind of just get an idea of like what these conversations look like. If Andres gets any more leads out of this particular list, I'll just have him shoot them in Voxer and then I'll email those over to you. Okay.
Yeah, no, this was extremely, extremely helpful. I like how he is, on today's is easily disqualifying them, so you're not wasting your time.
Definitely. Last 2 questions I'll answer here. So Coral asks, what do you say to transition from text to phone call? Andres does a great job where he's, he asks them, say, hey, when's a good time to give, what time of day is best to give you a call? So it basically just implies, hey, I'm going to give you a call, and just tries to find a good time that's going to work for them. So then we just call them at that point. And then Lisa, what do you, basically shortened version, Lisa's asking if we have the call, if people call us on the text we send, we forward it directly to voicemail. We don't answer those live. People are typically calling to, get mad at you. They're not typically calling because they're interested in, selling their property in our experience. So we just get a voicemail and then sort through those voicemails. So that is it on there. But, finishing up, guys, I will make sure to share a couple links here. So if you need help, with your campaigns, or, if you're looking for, company to help you, find a virtual assistant, that's a rock star like Andres, a company that we use is vahubonline.com. That I just shared there in the comments. And then if you do need, or if you aren't using Batch, you want to try Batch out, I'll send you guys, Pace's link he set up. with those guys that you could actually get 500, texts for free with batch. Share that link with you guys there. Anna, on your way to title. Perfect. I'll call you after I get off here. Awesome. So, Fontella, any final questions from you?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm all set. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Andres, thanks for coming on with 5 minutes notice to hop on here.
No problem. I'm always available.
Definitely. So, so any of those that come through, Andres, just shoot them in Boxer. I'll get them over to Fontella. And yeah, we'll, take it from there. But after you finish up on this one, Andres, because I know there's not a ton, then we could just go back to the Arizona campaigns.
Okay, no problem. Either way, it wasn't like a big list. It's 1,000 something.
Yeah.
So I'll be done in a moment.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody.
All right. See you guys.